Hello, welcome to Go English Story. Let's get started. Once upon a time, a choo-choo train puffed its way across rolling hills and stopped at a town called Redemption Ridge. The sun beat down on the dusty streets, making everything seem hot and dry. A cowboy named Henry stepped off the train, wearing a wide-brimmed hat that shaded his face. He had a kind smile, but wrinkles around his eyes hinted at stories from his past. Henry wasn't here for a vacation. He was searching for something special, a chance to be a better person. As he walked down the street, he heard loud music coming from a saloon with swinging doors. He peeked inside, but instead of laughter, he saw a man with a worried face rushing out. "The bank's been robbed," the man shouted, his voice all flustered. "Those darn Dalton brothers stole all the money." Henry's smile disappeared. Bad guys seemed to follow him wherever he went. He knew he had to help, but catching outlaws alone is tricky. He turned to the townsfolk and asked, "Does anyone here need a hand to catch those robbers? We can't let them get away with this." A tall man with a bushy mustache pointed towards a building with a sign that said shooting range. "You need to see Bonnie," he said. "She shoots faster than a shadow." Intrigued, Henry followed the man to the shooting range. Inside, he saw a cowgirl with hair as golden as the setting sun. She held a pistol in her hand and was hitting targets one after another with a loud bang. Henry introduced himself and told Bonnie about the bank robbery. Bonnie's eyes narrowed. "Those Daltons again!" she exclaimed. "They've been causing trouble for a long time." Bonnie agreed to help Henry catch the robbers. They knew they needed to be strong and quick. So, they spent a few hours getting ready. Henry checked his saddle and horse while Bonnie oiled her pistols and packed some snacks for the journey. With excited smiles, Henry and Bonnie hopped on their horses and rode out of town. They followed a trail of dust that led them across flat plains, past towering cacti, and through a winding canyon. The sun climbed higher in the sky, making them hot and sweaty. Suddenly, they saw a cloud of dust in the distance. It was the Daltons. The robbers were riding even faster horses and heading towards a rickety bridge across a wide river. "We have to catch them before they cross," Henry yelled. They whipped their horses into a gallop, kicking up dust as they raced. But just as they neared the bridge, the Daltons reached the other side. With a loud creak, they cut the ropes holding the bridge, sending it crashing into the river. Henry and Bonnie stopped their horses in disappointment. They couldn't get across the river now. The sun started to set, painting the sky with orange and purple streaks. They knew they couldn't reach the Daltons today, so they decided to set up camp for the night. Henry gathered dry twigs and started a small fire. Bonnie took out their food, delicious jerky, sweet apples, and crunchy crackers. As they ate under a sky full of twinkling stars, Henry and Bonnie shared stories. Henry told her about his travels and his dream of being a good cowboy. Bonnie told him about her adventures chasing after outlaws and her wish to make the Wild West a safer place. The next morning, Henry and Bonnie packed up their camp. They couldn't waste any time. They looked at the broken bridge and knew they needed to find another way to reach the Daltons' hideout. Suddenly, Henry spotted a trail leading up a steep mountain. It wouldn't be easy, but it was their only option. They climbed for what felt like hours, the sun beating down on their backs. But they didn't give up. They encouraged each other with friendly smiles and short breaks along the way. Finally, they reached the top of the mountain and peeked down the other side. They saw a hidden cave entrance tucked away behind some rocks. This must be the Daltons' hideout. Henry and Bonnie took a deep breath and snuck towards the cave entrance. It was dark inside, smelling like dirt and damp rocks. They walked carefully, making sure not to make any noise. Suddenly, they heard muffled voices and the flickering light of torches ahead. Peeking around a corner, Henry and Bonnie saw the Daltons huddled around a pile of shiny rocks and what looked like a box with wires coming out of it. "They're planning to blow something up," whispered Bonnie. Henry knew they had to act fast. With a loud yee-haw, they burst into the cave. The Daltons were startled, dropping their tools and scrambling for their guns. A tense standoff ensued. Henry and Bonnie aimed their pistols at the Daltons, their hearts pounding. Luckily, a surprise was on their side. Before the Daltons could react, Bonnie disarmed one with a quick shot that knocked his gun flying. Henry tackled another to the ground, wrestling away his weapon. The remaining Dalton, seeing his brothers captured, threw his hands in the air with a sigh. Henry quickly secured the dynamite and the detonator, making sure there wouldn't be any explosions. With the Daltons tied up, Henry and Bonnie emerged from the cave, blinking in the bright sunlight. They were greeted by cheers from a group of townsfolk who had followed their trail. News of the chase had spread, and everyone had come to see if they were all right. The townspeople were ecstatic. They had finally caught the Daltons, thanks to the bravery of Henry and Bonnie. The sheriff arrived, relieved to have the outlaws in custody. He thanked Henry and Bonnie for their heroism, declaring them honorary citizens of Redemption Ridge for their bravery and quick thinking. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow on Redemption Ridge, everyone gathered in the town square for a celebration. There was music, dancing, and lots of delicious food. Henry and Bonnie were the guests of honor, feeling proud and happy. Henry finally understood what it meant to have a fresh start. He had found a place where he could be a good person, where bravery and kindness were valued. Bonnie, ever the adventurer, knew she'd move on to help other towns in need, but she promised to visit Redemption Ridge again. Do you think Henry and Bonnie will have more adventures together? What kind of challenges do you think they might face next? Use your imagination and create your own story about Henry and Bonnie's future adventures in the Wild West. Maybe you can even draw a picture of their next daring feat. We hope you enjoyed this exciting story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more fun adventures with Go English Story. See you in my next video.